one of the really striking points, I thought it was perhaps the strongest point you made, is that you are really responsible for your own emotions. That, for example, your teacher in your book would constantly do things to show you up, to humiliate you, even when you thought you were being very proud of yourself. He would show you how silly or stupid you were and call you a jackass quite often, and then you would get angry. And this happened again and again and again and again until you learned that you were the one who was getting angry, that it wasn't because of anything that anybody else did to you, that rather that was your state of being.
Yes, and he had to do it again and again because I was a little slow in learning.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a stretch for most of us to feel like when we get angry that it's just us doing it, because it seems reasonable to get angry in many situations. And when I talk about dealing with the emotions, Socrates said that the warrior, the peaceful warrior, chooses happiness. And it has to be unreasonable because there are many reasons to be happy. And there are not, well actually, let me take that back. He said there are many reasons to be unhappy. Read the daily newspapers. Mm-hmm. And there are not a lot of reasons. The mind can't just always make us happy. So he said the peaceful warrior chooses to be unreasonably happy. Mm-hmm. But I'm not talking about playing pretend, where we just suppress emotions, suppress negativity. I'm talking about we know what our feelings are and recognize them and express them appropriately, but nevertheless still be able to radiate to other people from having a broader perspective of what our life is about. And from that perspective, looking back from the ends of the universe, to see us down there on Earth somewhere, running around with our little problems, it gives us a little bit of humor about ourselves, and I had to learn that.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting, at one point, your teacher in the novel asks you, "Where are you?" And you say, "Well, I'm in Berkeley, I'm in California." And he says, finally you go, "I'm on Earth, in the solar system, in the universe." And he says, "Well, where is the universe?"
His point was, we ultimately don't know anything. We've gathered facts and opinions and beliefs, but this world still is a mystery. And that is what he was trying to convey in that situation. He also asked me what time it was, and naturally I looked at the clock on the wall, and he had to remind me the time is here, the time is now, and the place is here. Mm-hmm.
And there was this exquisite sense that this fellow, who you called Socrates, being at home in the universe, could be in a gas station or a garbage dump or anywhere, and he would be at home. He would be fulfilling himself. Mm-hmm. So much, I think, in our lives, we seek fulfillment through attainments, through achievements, through career, for example. And you seem to be kind of getting underneath that and suggesting that that can never really be fulfilling.
One way...
in and of itself.
Yes, yes. Achievements are fine, and I had many achievements in the beginning of the book I described. Mm-hmm. I had many successes. One of the best things about going to college is that we find out it doesn't make us happy. And it's the same with getting rich, or getting married and having children, or retiring. None of those things in themselves make us happy. They may be functionally very useful. That's what I found. I've gone to college, I'm married, I have children. Mm-hmm. But none of those things in themselves will make us happy. They can be very useful, but happiness depends on us. Whether happiness isn't something we get, it's something we give. That's my sense of it anyway. Mm-hmm. And that's the discipline, because anybody can be happy when things are going well, and I've learned that. But when things aren't going well, that's when it draws out that inner warrior in us to radiate that and bring whatever happiness we can to the situation.
Yeah. Well, there's a tricky thing here. I know your teacher expressed it in your book by expressing anger, by showing what would appear, by acting unhappy mm-hmm. with you.
Right.
From time to time. And surely in our own life there are situations that occur where we are going to act unhappy mm-hmm. because we're responding.
Yes.
If we wouldn't want to deny that within ourselves.
Right. In fact, let's take fear, sorrow, and anger. Mm-hmm. If a gorilla is chasing me down the beach, I'm not going to stop and tell it about my childhood. I'm going to hoof it. I'm going to run. I'm going to express fear. Yeah. And it seems perfectly appropriate. If I'm at a friend's funeral, it would be very appropriate to express sorrow. And if I'm dealing with bureaucrats, sometimes anger can be very useful. Mm-hmm. So the expression, our full emotional affect, like children, babies are so real. When they're angry, they let it out, mm-hmm. and then they let it go. And so I'm not of the school that we should just pretend to be calm all the time. because that will beat us bloody inside. There's a saying that the organs weep the tears that the eyes refuse to shed. But I am talking about using our breath and simple techniques we can apply in everyday life to clear the obstructions, the cramp right in here, in our chest and stomach area. And then we can express ourselves more fully without being choked up.
Could you amplify on that a little bit, the cramp and how that can be cleared?
Well, to do it simply, in the few moments we have here, all upset starts in the mind. Stress happens when the mind resists what is. And so if we're resisting something, either fear, sorrow, or anger is going to come up. It's a contraction, whatever word we have for it. And whenever we're contracted, our breathing is affected. It gets imbalanced. By bringing the breath back into balance and remembering to breathe fully and calmly, we can release the obstruction in the moment. And when that happens, then we can express whatever's appropriate. And it's very important to be able to do so. And many of us, that's the hardest thing. A lot of people work on the body and work on the mind. But to be able to express, have the courage to express how we're feeling, who we are, and what we need, that takes a peaceful warrior's courage. You know, life develops what it demands. We've all noticed that. If there are no demands placed, we don't develop.
Yeah.
And so my sense is that peaceful warrior in every one of us comes out through the demands of life. Life is a school.
Yeah.